You have found our Thursday Night Football preview for week number 15. My name is Steven Andrus, managing editor at thelines.com. Pinch hitting for Matt Brown this week, who will be back on next week's Thursday night video. And it's an ugly one for this week. We have not only the Los Angeles Chargers going on the road to take on the Las Vegas Raiders, but Justin Herbert is out for the season. Easton Stick will start for LA against Aiden O'Connell, we presume. As of Wednesday, the Raiders were being kind of cheeky on who would start in this game, but Mark Davis, their owner, has said that O'Connell will start for the rest of the season. So that's what we're operating with under the assumption here. If that changes, it will have changed closer to kickoff. So that's where we're at for this. If you go to thelines.com, you can go to the NFL tab and under the Thursday Night Football preview and check out the current odds for this one. This one opened around -3. With some injury news in this one, we're up to a juiced +3.5 in one spot still at FanDuel as we record on Thursday afternoon. A juiced -3 pretty much everywhere else for the Raiders in this one. In this video, we're going to break down some of the bets I like. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't feel very strongly about a lot here because of just the terrible quarterback play involved, but we have a couple of columns on the site with player props and anytime touchdowns that I'll share from our staff as well to let you know what they have pinpointed as potential bets. And at the end of this video, I will share the promo that I'm using over at DraftKings. They have a get a bonus bet back up to $5 for any same game parlay. And I like to make a lottery ticket version of that at 200 to 1 odds. So it's a $5 same game parlay to win $1,000. And if it loses, then you get $5 in bonus bets back. So I'll share that at the end of this video. But before we get into potential bets, we need to start the analysis of this game with the injury reports for both teams because they are lengthy and they are significant. Let's start with the LA Chargers here. And the biggest injury of note is wide receiver Keenan Allen, who has basically been their entire passing offense in recent weeks. Justin Herbert has been relying on him more than anybody else, way more than most wide receiver ones. He's been leading the league in receptions, and he is out for this game. It's not just Keenan Allen for the Chargers, though. If you look down the list here, we have 3 other players, 2 on defense, a linebacker and a defensive tackle who are questionable, and also one of their starting corners, De'Ann Leonard, is out as well of this game. On the Raiders side, and of course with the Chargers, Justin Herbert is not playing at quarterback. It's Easton Stick. So on the Raiders side, we also have some significant injuries to monitor. First of all, we know for sure that 2 of their offensive linemen, Andre James, the center, and Colton Miller, their tackle, both of those guys will not play. So they're going to be having 2 backup players on the offensive line here going up against the sack leader in the NFL, Khalil Mack. So that's concerning for any offensive production. And we also have key questionable tags on Josh Jacobs at running back and also Devontae Adams, who has been battling an illness, a midweek downgrade on Wednesday for this Thursday game. The latest reports are that he is going to give it a go, that he will play. But right now, Josh Jacobs with a quad injury is still a game time decision. So that's something else you guys are going to have to monitor. And we don't have the information as we record this video on Thursday afternoon. All right, so now that we've handled the injury situation, let me give you my take on what we're dealing with here with spread and total. So we mentioned the spreads, 3.5, depending on where you shop. The over-under is very low, and you should expect that with 2 backup quarterbacks here. 34.5 is low. It's the second week in a row we've seen this. It was 30 last week for Steelers and Patriots. Nevertheless, we're in a dome environment here. We are getting the Raiders offense coming off a game against one of the trickier, toughest defenses in the league right now, and the Vikings led by Brian Flores. And now they get to face a Chargers defense that has been pretty poor most of the season. And with the Chargers, it's Easton Stick is first start. I don't know what to expect with that. But I will tell you that when we get to the 200 to 1 same game parlay at the end of the video, I'm going to take a contrarian over in this game just because we're in perfect conditions in a dome environment. And rarely do you get an opportunity to bet an over this low in the NFL in a dome. So that's just one angle I'm looking at here. Go to thelines.com here under the NFL tab and under player props, and we will look at some of the the options that are in play here. We'll go to Jeffrey Schreiber's article first and what he is pinpointing for player props in this game between the Chargers and the Raiders. And if you scroll down, you got this awesome table here. It lets you sort by statistics or categories. You can go to passing touchdowns or interceptions might be a good one for this. You got Easton Stick at minus 145 to throw a pick. Aiden O'Connell minus 122 to throw an interception. That might be a good one with how terrible those two are at quarterback. We have the anytime touchdown option here. Receiving yards is one we'll talk about here in a little bit. At the time this was posted, we didn't know if Keenan Allen was going to be out or not, so just ignore that. And if you do bet on Keenan Allen, your bet's going to get voided anyway. But we'll circle back here to a couple opinions I have on Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston in a moment. Scroll down here. Jeffrey Schreiber is looking at Davante Adams, despite the fact that he has been sick, despite the fact that his quarterback play has been subpar. He still has a 31.7% target share and more than 50% of the Raiders' air yards since Aiden O'Connell has taken over at quarterback. So now the problem has been close to 24% of those have been inaccurate targets from O'Connell, which is why we haven't seen many stats. But the volume is there for Adams. So if for whatever reason Jimmy G does get the start or gets into the game here, maybe some live player prop overs for Adams, if that's the case, the volume is there to potentially back him for some overs in this one, despite the poor quarterback play. Jeffrey's also looking at Hunter Renfrow over 23.5 receiving yards. And on the Chargers side, Austin Eckler over 29.5 receiving yards. If you're looking for another potential leg to pair up for a same game parlay, he's on the under here. And I get it. I certainly get it. Both of these teams are the worst when it comes to hitting the over. Both the Chargers and the Raiders are tied at 3-10 trying to get to the over this year. So 10 of their 13 games have gone under this season. And now you have even worse scoring conditions with Justin Herbert out for the season and Easton Stick taking over. So you can check out Jeffrey's article on the site. You can go to the NFL tab and under player props, you can check that out. Let's check out the anytime touchdowns column for Thursday Night Football as well. Brett Gibbons put this one together for us. See what he's looking at here, whether he's going chalk or whether he's going long shot here for Thursday Night Football. And he's looking at one angle that I certainly had my eye on. Even though Keenan Allen is out, Josh Palmer is back from IR for the Chargers. Now, what that means with Easton Stick at quarterback, it's anybody's guess. But at plus 375, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if he is the top targeted receiver now for the Chargers in this game. That's a pretty juicy price tag there against a Raiders defense that's certainly gettable. He on the Raiders side, he's looking at a long shot price on Michael Mayer, the rookie tight end out of Notre Dame. And he's looking at a potential matchup here against a Chargers defense where teams have targeted the tight end 97 times against LA, the 8th most in the NFL this season. So potentially a nice price tag there for Josh Palmer. I'm going to go over to the odds tab under the prop finder tool, and we're going to talk about two of the Chargers wide receivers here for this one. Let's talk some more about Josh Palmer. And, with him coming back, again, it's a guessing game about his chemistry with Easton Stick, but, we're looking at some pretty low numbers here. We're looking at 33.5 scrimmage yards at Caesars to score a touchdown, plus 380 is the best available number. Love this tool. Just type in the name and you can check out the best prices across all the books. Yeah, 33.5 is pretty low for a guy who's getting a ton of targets before he went out, even with Keenan Allen still on the field. The other guy has been a complete bust in fantasy circles. Their first-round pick, Quentin Johnston. But in recent weeks, he started to come on a little bit here. And I know from talking to Mo Noir on our staff, he talked about it on Beat the Closing Number, our podcast over on our YouTube channel, and also on our podcast network on Apple and Spotify. He thought this number would be more in the 40s now, especially with Stick at quarterback, who he had chemistry with in the preseason. They spent a lot of time on the second team together in the preseason and training camp and first half of the year. And Johnston's come on a little bit here now that Keenan Allen isn't sucking up so many targets. So I know Mo is playing the over 29.5 here. I would probably go more yards than receptions because the way they're using him with some of the deep balls, he might go over this with just one reception You don't want to get stuck doing, the over 2.5 if he goes for, like 2 catches and 50 yards or something like that. I also think longest reception is a decent look here because of the way they've been utilizing him with deeper targets down the field. That's sitting at 15.5, 16.5, depending on where you shop. And if you're not too worried about high risk, high reward, then 5-1 to score a touchdown here. Although just remember that the total still is 34.5. So those are some of the props that I would be looking at here. Let me share with you as we wrap up here the crazy long shot, probably not going to hit, $5 same game parlay that I bet over at DraftKings to win $1,000 at least at 200-1 odds. There's some other potential bonus bets back for a same game parlay. I think, slice of pizza money isn't going to hurt you to have fun with this. And you can always use the bonus bet back on a futures market at, 10-1 odds or longer or something like that. So, all right, here we go. 210-1 when I place this. It's 10 legs. I told you I wasn't kidding. It's a lottery ticket. But we are going to start each of these legs with kind of a theme and a game state theory to hopefully get this home. The first is that they're playing in a dome. Perfect conditions for an offense, even though we have concerns about injuries and quarterbacks and all that jazz. The rules are still tailored for offense, and we don't have to worry about weather, and we're on a fast track. So let's take an alternate over-under to get this up to 39.5 and hope for the best. I still think the Raiders should be 3-point favorites or more in this game, with Justin Herbert not being on the field. So I'll take an alternate spread of -2.5. So if the Raiders win by a field goal, we're good. And if the Raiders are leading in this game, like I would, which is my theory, that's what I'm assuming to base this entire parlay around. That means I think a couple things. Number one, I think the Chargers are going to have to go into a negative game script and throw the ball, which should help guys like Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston get to over 48.5 yards and 50+ yards respectively. And Josh Palmer potentially to be in that Keenan Allen role where he's being more heavily targeted to go over 3.5 receptions. I also think if they're in a negative game state, it likely means the Raiders are going to be the first one to get to 20. So Raiders race to 20. And if there's going to be more throwing because they're behind and trailing, pretty decent shot Easton Stick's going to throw at least one interception here. Still like Aiden O'Connell to go over 189.5 here with the concerns about how healthy Josh Jacobs is and whether or not he's going to play. And we know neither of these teams are really all that great in the red zone, especially with the quarterback play we now have. So we'll take Raiders kicker Daniel Carlson over 1.5 field goals and the Raiders to kick the first field goal in the game. A $5 bet to profit more than $1,000, at least to have a little bit of fun money on this and figure out what the hell's going on. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any strong inclinations about this, but there's at least some angles if you're interested in playing this kind of putrid Thursday night game between the Chargers and the Raiders in Easton Stick versus likely Aiden O'Connell. Just one caveat, if it does wind up being Jimmy G or if he comes in the middle of the game, clearly the Raiders win probability goes much higher at that point with a more seasoned quarterback at the helm. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, press the subscribe button, press the like button. Let us know in the comments how you are betting Thursday Night Football. If you're on the audio side, head over to the YouTube side. Search The Lines US on YouTube, one word. And we're making a push to 50,000 subscribers by the Super Bowl. If we get there, we are going to have a massive giveaway. So just hit that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds, goes a long way for us in trying to continue to provide this free content for you. Best of luck with your bets for Thursday Night Football.